Hello, thank you for joining us today for our next installment in the Post-Secondary Info Series. Today we have the pleasure of being with Jillian Zablan, who is an enrollment advisor at Trent University. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Trent University is in Peterborough, Ontario, right?
Yes, it is.
A lovely place if you haven't been able to visit. I don't know where you are right now in your enrollment process, or if you already know where you're going to university. Maybe you're just now starting to investigate where you're going to attend. This is a great video for you to watch as Jillian is going to be talking to us a bit about the Trent experience. In case you don't know already, my name is Richard Vallejo. I am your student service representative, and I am excited, Jillian, to hear about how it goes at Trent University. You are an alumni, correct?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. Well, why don't you tell us a bit about your personal experience, and then maybe the courses that are offered there and the programs, and just overall the experience at Trent University.
Okay, so I graduated from Trent last year with my Bachelor of Science in Biology and Sociology, and then continued on to do my Master's at Trent as well. So I'd say my Trent experience was amazing. I'm a little biased, but it is a great campus. We do have one in Peterborough as well as Durham. It's a close-knit community, which is really nice. Your professors get to know your name, which is the advantage of going to the school. It is a small campus. Your professors are very supportive. The students get to know each other, which is really nice. We do have programs that range from the arts, sciences, social sciences as well. So there's definitely something that you can be interested in and something that you can find that will tap into your passions and your interests.
Great.
There's just over 8,000 students at the Peterborough campus and
Nice.
then just over 1,000 at the Durham campus.
Wonderful. So your experience was great, and obviously you're studying your master's. It's continuing still. You're still going off with them. Wonderful. You were telling us a bit before we started about your medical school. You said it's kind of one of the big ones.
Very exciting.
Tell us a bit about that for students that maybe are thinking about that as an option. You said they need to graduate with their undergraduate, and then they can go, you know what, you tell us.
Yes, for sure. So, essentially, for people that want to go into med school or vet school, we have a partnership with St. George's University School of Medicine, which is in the Caribbean. It's in the West Indies, which is really nice at their oceanfront campus.
Great.
So essentially, you do an undergrad at Trent in the sciences. So that could be biochemistry, molecular biology, biomedical science, chemistry, physics, anything that you're interested in the sciences. And you say you want to be part of our medical professional stream or the pre-medical studies. And from there, we have an office that is actually dedicated to helping students get the right references, get the right placement opportunities, and that support that they could get. And if you keep a 77% average at your time at Trent, you do still need to write the MCATs and still apply to med school at St. George's, but it's almost a direct entry pathway into their med or their vet school.
Great. So now at what point does a student need to decide that they want to be pre-med?
So usually a lot of students know right away that they want to go into pre-med, but you can decide in your second year or even in your first year, so you can always transfer into that pathway as well.
Great. Now you're also talking about the law school. That's kind of neat, kind of a different realm other than medicine, but still something that's well sought after.
Yes,
how does it work with Trent?
So we have a new partnership. It's actually with Swansea University in the UK.
Nice.
So we got all these partnerships abroad, which is really nice.
Yes.
So essentially, it's a law and arts, law and business. So you can do an undergrad at Trent in the business kind of programs that we have, or an arts degree. So that could be anything along the arts. There's a bunch of programs that we have in the arts. So essentially, you do 2 years first at Trent in Peterborough or in Durham, and then you go to Swansea in the UK at their law school there. You spend 3 years there studying law, and then you come back here for the last year. And then that's where you finish your undergrad degree in either the arts or the business, and then you focus on kind of those prep courses that'll help you for your licensing exam to be a lawyer. So it's a dual degree because in 6 years you get your undergrad degree and a law degree, which is really exciting.
Wow, that is really neat.
And you don't have to write the LSATs.
I think I knew that when you
That
take
was
it
the plus
in
side.
the UK. Wonderful. And then you help in being able to take the exam here so that they can be qualified lawyers here. That's great. That's a wonderful thing to know. Now, 8,000 students, that's a cozy campus.
It is.
I've had the pleasure of visiting the campus, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's fairly rural and kind of neat. So being able to meet and talk to the professors and be somewhat of a person as opposed to just another random student, I think is great. Can you break down the demographics about those 8,000 students?
Yeah. So we are a very diverse campus, very inclusive to a lot of people. We are also one of the only schools, I believe, in Canada to have Indigenous courses, which is really exciting.
Wow, that is...
Yeah, so it's actually a requirement that you take at least one Indigenous course at your time at Trent, which is really exciting because then it really highlights the partnership that we have with the Indigenous community, as well as the First People House of Learning at Trent. We also have an office at Trent called the Trent International Office. So a lot of our international students, they have those supports that they can get. There's as well as student services, there's mental health counseling. There's even an office that makes sure on holidays that you get to celebrate your own holiday, celebrate with people around you. So they have a lot of those supports for students. And because it is a small campus, the wait times are very small, as well as you can go to anyone and they'll know you by first name, and they even do check-ins with students, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's great. Somewhat unheard of in most post-secondary options. So that's wonderful. Now, when it comes to 8,000 students and you, maybe students out there are looking, but funding is a big concern. What do you have as far as bursaries or scholarships, grants, stuff like that?
So we are actually the number one in Ontario for scholarships and bursaries, which is very exciting. We've held that title for 20 years now, so a really long time. But we do really highlight our entrant scholarships because they're renewable, which means you can get them every year. So starting with an 80% average, you could get $1,000 every single year. And as your average goes up to 95%, you could get up to $3,000 every single year.
Wow, kind of locked in.
And it's renewable. So again, you get it every single year. And then on top of that, if you go to our Durham campus, we have something called the Scholars Circle. So with over 90% average, you could get an additional $1,500 on top of that. And then there's more.
Wow.
You could get more scholarships by applying. We have a whole bunch of them that you could look at online, as well as asking your academic advisor. But you can apply to those and you could get up to $20,000 additional on top of that.
Wow.
And for bursaries, that's a different story. During your first week at Trent, they usually send out an application. So if you're a first-generation student, maybe you're receiving OSAP and other funding, you can click off those boxes and then get additional money on top of that as well.
Wow, so well supported. That's wonderful. Obviously, there's an importance in having good academic grades and information like that. Jillian, I don't know if you know, but Virtual High School offers 24/7 tutoring.
Oh, awesome.
So that's obviously, we're talking about undergraduate, high school grades. How important, well, let me ask it differently. What are the admissions requirements? I mean, it's good that you have good high standards for the scholarships, but if a student maybe struggles academically or needs to put a bit more effort, what do they need to be aiming for if they want to go to Trent?
So our overall entrance average is 81%. You'll find that a lot of the programs, well, most of them, and that's generalizing it, it usually just requires English, but again, for special programs in the sciences or maybe it's forensics, you might need the sciences, but again, our overall acceptance average is 81%. And we do take your top 6 grade 12 grades, which is really nice because then you have the opportunity. If it only requires one course, then you have 5 other opportunities to do really well, and we'll take those instead of your lowest mark.
Yeah, perfect. That's nice and forgiving. I like that. So if the admissions entry is 81%, what did you say was for just the base of the recurring scholarships? Wasn't it 80?
80.
So basically, anyone that goes to Trent has the possibility of getting
free money.
Free money. That's wonderful. That's a good thing to take advantage of. So students are out there working hard to get good grades so they can go to Trent. Once in Trent, they have to work hard so they can get more money, which is neat. So obviously studying is a big part of going to university, any university. But at Trent University, when you want to have a break from studying, what do you have as far as extracurricular activities, campus groups, stuff like that?
So we have over 100 different types of clubs and groups, which is amazing. I didn't know what an apiary was. I don't know if you know what an apiary is.
Having to do with bees?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow, that's surprising. But we actually have an apiary club on campus. So there's over 100 different types of clubs and groups. And if there's a club or a group that you're actually interested in and we don't have it, we'll give you money to start that club or group.
Wow.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of varsity sports as well. But if you're not a varsity level sport athlete, you can also join intramural clubs and groups too. I did inter-tube water polo, dodgeball is something. If you like golf. We also have 12 on-campus nature reserves, so if you want to walk around and experience the campus life, you can. We also have a whole bunch of kilometers of trails on campus. We have a wildlife sanctuary, so if you want to join those, you can. I know I used to roller skate in between class because that was an opportunity.
Perfect. I remember being at your campus, and I told you this before we started. It seems kind of like a national park. I mean, the way it's all protected. So it kind of really is. Other than the water polo and roller skating, did you belong to any groups while you were on campus?
I did. So at Trent, we have buildings called colleges. Those colleges usually house residents for students, but they also host student services, academics, and those supports for students. And each college, it's similar to a smaller knit community within the bigger community of Trent.
Wow.
And so I was part of similar to, I guess, student council. So being involved with making events with students, hosting different colleges, sports. So I did that, which is really exciting.
Nice, perfect. And you can build even better relationships that way as well, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. Now, we've talked about medicine, we've talked about law school, and then a few others. What would you say is the one that's the most native to Trent University, a program? Do you have something comes to mind?
If that's
yeah,
okay.
share both of them, for sure.
So the first one is the School of the Environment. I know you're talking about it's like a national park.
Yes.
But Trent is very big in the outdoors, the environmental science, environmental resource studies. So I think we created the School of the Environment actually, which is really exciting because again, the hands-on opportunities that you get in that experiential learning is so plentiful because again, you can go outside and that's your classroom rather than sitting down, right? You can go outside and actually do all the stuff of collecting data, putting it into data entry, all that fun stuff. So it's really big in that hands-on opportunity.
And that's an undergraduate program?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Environmental science.
Cool. And you said you had two. What was the second one?
Yes. The other big one is forensic science. People love forensic science.
Yeah.
And we have a hidden gem on campus. So our campus is 1,400 acres in size. Wow. We have this old farmhouse that we've actually turned into our crime scene house on campus.
That sounds neat.
So we simulate fake crime scenes there with fake blood, fake hair samples, and DNA. And students actually get to go in there wearing all the gear as if you were going to an actual crime scene, collecting all that data, analyzing it, and similar to like Criminal Minds or CSI in those episodes, you get that hands-on opportunity. So we're really big in forensics is another popular one.
Perfect. I'm glad you mentioned that. Now, you talked about very hands-on experience. I happen to think that's very important to solidify what you're learning. Do you have opportunities in the other programs for like co-ops and stuff like that so that you can have that hands-on experience?
Yes. So we do offer, we like to say we live that hands-on learning at Trent because of that small setting and the opportunity to interact with your professors. So a lot of professors also get grants from government, so you can actually work with them also in your undergrad, at the undergrad level, which most schools do, master's level graduate students. So you do have that opportunity to work with a professor. You can get co-op. We have internship programs as well. A big one is business students. You can do a co-op or an internship and you can get paid while doing your degree. A lot of students also do placement in the forensics program. We actually have a partnership with Canadian Border Services and the RCMP. So you have a lot of those opportunities and it's a nice way to get your foot in the door of, again, getting your name out there and networking as well.
For sure. As well as the experience, obviously. Now, the campus sounds beautiful from what I remember. It is beautiful. What about those students that want to live on campus? You have residence? Maybe it's guaranteed for first-year students? How does that work?
Yes, it is. Yes, so our residence is guaranteed for first-year students.
Great.
You can apply as soon as you apply to Trent. It is first come, first serve. So I always say once you apply to Trent, apply for that residence application. It is $50, but it puts you at the top of the list, so you can choose your room as well, which is really nice. If you don't know anybody coming to Trent, we do similar to a profile making. You can look through people's profiles, make one of yours, of your preferences of waking up, if you're messy, if you're clean. So you can find a roommate, and it's really nice because then you also know somebody on the first day of school.
For sure.
And then we do have 5 different types of residents on campus. Those are colleges, so those are our colleges. I know we're university, which is a little bit confusing, but again, it's just a smaller knit community within the bigger community of Trent. And again, they all have the student services that students need, but there's also single rooms, there's double rooms, there's even triple rooms if you really want a triple room. You could do that as well. And then the cost of those rooms come with a meal plan option. So that meal plan, it is like a declining balance in a card. You could use it at any of the dining halls. So all of the residence buildings have a dining hall. There's international cuisine, vegan options. There's a Starbucks on campus.
Nice.
So all that fun stuff. So you could use that as well. There's free laundry. That's a really big one people get excited about. There's free laundry. I don't know why. But it's a really great experience, and we also have living learning communities as well. So certain programs, like a few examples are nursing, you could do leadership, forensics. You can actually live with students in your program, so they're around you, so you get to know them really well. And if it's studying, you can study in the common areas together, which is really nice, because then it's at your fingertips and you get that support right away.
Yeah, for sure. You're kind of immersed in your program. That's kind of neat. Now, a lot of students that come to virtual high school are often retaking a course. How does Trent University, or what is your policy on repeated courses?
So we'll actually take your highest grade.
Perfect.
So whichever course you retake, we'll look at your highest grade and we'll take that and counting in your top 6.
Perfect. And like you said, you take the top 6, and so they can just drop the lowest grade. Wonderful. You know what, Jillian, you've been very detailed in your explanations. I think those are a lot of the questions that our students ask. If the students have any more questions, I believe we're going to post a PDF of your booklet there. What do you call it there? Yeah.
Review book, yes.
Review book. There you go. So thank you so much for explaining to us about the experience at Trent. It really sounds wonderful, and a lot of really cool, unique hands-on programs. If you're out there and you don't know where you're going to go, maybe this is a university you can consider. Maybe you already know, but you have a friend that maybe would be interested in going there. So make sure you share it with your friends there. Follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and we can stay in touch about what's next in our post-secondary info series. Jillian, thanks again for joining us today, and thank you for watching.